Welcome back to the WAC Basketball Preview presented by Hercules Tires. I'm Rachel Vigil in the WAC Digital Network studios, excited to be talking about women's hoops at California Baptist. We'll soon be joined by their head coach, Jarrod Olson, along with sophomore guard, Sydney Palma. Excited to be talking with them about how meshing of the teams is working. They were selected first by the coaches and second by the media in the preseason poll. Excited to see why they're so deserving of that. Can you both hear me?
I can, Rachel.
Perfect. How is everyone?
We're doing good. I think it's a little issue there. She was there a minute ago, and now she's not. But, yeah, things are going good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Well, Coach, I guess we'll start with you then. You're selected first by the coaches. Why is your program so deserving of this first-place nod?
I mean, I don't know why we would be deserving. Other than we have a good team. And our goal is to win the conference. We lost 3 starters from last year's team. Were pretty key players for us. Lexi Rom was an all-conference player. Tiana Fu, DeLacy Brown. And I think the preseason stuff in the WAC this year probably means less than it ever has. You've got 2 new teams. You got a bunch of new coaches. And I think it's just going to be a little interesting because I don't think people know each other very well right now. Some of our best players, these coaches have never even seen play, and I know when I was voting for all conference, I had to vote for people that I had never seen play. So I don't really put much stock into that, but we'll just do the best we can. And we have high expectations for ourselves anyway. So nothing from that side has really changed.
You mentioned losing those 3 starters. What new faces could we possibly see to help fill those roles?
We really pride ourselves on development of our current players. And, Sydney, who you'll be talking to in a minute, would be one of them. She's going to be a redshirt sophomore. So, she's been with us this is her 3rd year. I think she'll have a really good year. Tiana Neal is another player that's a sophomore this year that, played a little bit as a freshman. We expect her to do more this year. And we've got some new players too that we're hopeful for. And then the last one I would say is Taylor Wu. Who will be a sophomore. She's from Hawaii. She played off and on last year for us, had some good moments, but we're definitely expecting a bigger role out of her as well.
Guard Brittany Thomas is back after an injury last year. How has her role developed now? I'm sure she had a voice last year, but now back on the court.
Well, she's kind of been in and out for us. She hasn't been practicing regularly. So, we just kind of take what we can get from her. She's got a pretty big personality, and so the thing that she helps us with the most is just communication on defense, and just kind of being, the anchor for us in the back. But yeah, we're hoping we can get as much out of her as possible. I think, health was a big issue for us last year, and I think it'll continue to be this year. And that's before we get into the COVID stuff. So, we're kind of cautiously optimistic, the right phrase.
How can you help with those health concerns?
I think there's not a lot we can do other than just trust, that we have a really good training staff here, and we've got a lot of good doctors that are working with our team. But, some of it's just random. You can't really account for someone, spraining an ankle or tearing an ACL, and every team goes through it. So, it's not like it's exclusive to us. Last year it was probably hit some of our key players more than maybe some other teams, but that's just how basketball works. And, we'll just keep working through it and do the best we can.
Guard Annie Oleda was named preseason player of the year. Why is she so deserving of that?
She's worked really hard over the summer. She's come in great shape, but honestly, she's not practicing right now either. She's out with an injury. But she's the quarterback of our team. She's a really good point guard. And she's really grown a lot in her 4 years here. I think she's, part of that, I think we've done a good job coaching her, but I think for the most part, it's just her determination and her, her will to win. This really made her a great player. And I'm really excited to see her get back out on the court once she heals up. And I think she's capable of doing great things.
Sydney finally joined us. How are you?
Good. How are you? Sorry, we had some technical difficulties, but we got figured out.
No worries. It's bound to happen. Your teammate, Annie Oleda, was selected as preseason player of the year. How does that help your team with that motivation going forward?
I think all of us, we kind of knew that she was going to be that person. She's got that fire in her, and it kind of is infectious within all of us. So it's just extra motivation for us to like prove to them, yeah, she should be the player of the year. And yeah, she just kind of feeds off of our energy, and same with us.
Your team was selected first by the coaches. How surprised were you when you saw that list come out?
I'm not going to say I'm surprised, because I think that we're going to work towards to be that team. We have a lot of people that are returning as well as the new people. Like I heard Jarrod say, our best people who you guys haven't even seen yet as well. So I think that if we work hard every day in practice, that we're going to be able to reach that goal and be successful for sure.
How can you help be that leader that meshes the returning players and the new players?
I think I'm working on becoming that better leader on the court, because if we have multiple leaders on the court, it's just going to benefit everyone else. So if we come together and share our knowledge and stuff like that, I think that we're going to be a really strong team for sure.
Coach, for you, the non-conference schedule, what can you tell us about it?
Not much. We're working on it. It just seems like every day there's something different that comes up, goes into flux. I mean, literally 2 minutes before I got on this call, I was talking to another coach from another team, trying to like kind of work out some details on some stuff. So, I mean, we're going to play mostly SoCal schools is the goal. And currently that's the way it stands. But I think everybody is just ready to be flexible and pivot at any moment. We're just going to be thankful we can play any games we can. And, you know, I don't think we're taking anything for granted at this point. And when the opportunities are there to play, we'll be ready and we'll go get them.
Sydney, when the NCAA announced that November 25th basketball could start for non-conference, how excited was your team and yourself that you weren't going to be playing each other anymore, that you're finally going to play a different team?
It's definitely been a rough few months for basketball players for sure. We were just so pumped, because it is tiring when you're playing the same people, and that's what we love, to play other people. And so we're just really excited, and we're grateful that we have the opportunity to keep playing.
Well, thank you to you both for hopping on. I'm now going to send you over to Michael Navarrete for media questions.
Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. I'll let Kyle McDonald get us started.
Jarrod, this is Kyle McDonald with WAC Hoops Digest. I want to go back to what you said about priding yourself on development. How does that make your program stronger? I mean, I know that a lot of teams rely on the transfer portal and so forth, but you don't hear that too often where teams pride themselves on development, especially with young players. How does that make you guys stronger, especially in the midst of this pandemic and having to deal with restrictions?
Well, I mean, we've had transfers too, so it's not like we're, you know, exclusively going freshmen all the time. But I mean, every kid on our team, I mean, my job and the job of our assistant coaches is to make them the best players they can be, as well as the best people they can be. And so we take a lot of pride in just working every day on that. I know days it probably to them doesn't feel like it's happening, but you know, we just keep chipping away, and eventually, you know, we're going to break through. And I think we've had some really good successes with that. I mean, Lexi Rom, who just graduated last year, is a great example. I mean, Ane, you know, is another one. You know, and then coming up through there, we've got Caitlin Harper, Sydney Palma, Tiana Neal, Taylor Wu. Those are people that, you know, they've come in and they've been willing to do the work. And, you know, when they're coachable, and when they take that attitude, you know, they can really grow as a player and as a person. And that's what kind of makes our job as coaches rewarding, is just seeing them grow and be the best they can be.
I want to ask you too, I know the men weren't able to get in the CBU Event Center. Was it the same way with you guys with restrictions on practicing inside? And how has that kind of maybe made the group a little bit tighter to have to practice in different areas, I guess? I
mean, we just had to be flexible with a lot of stuff. You know, we've done stuff outside when you're allowed to go inside, we'll go inside, you know, and we'll do that stuff. So I don't think that's exclusive to us. I think that's a global issue right now. So, I mean, I think that's just everybody is having to kind of like adjust and try to find ways to be creative and do what you want to do in a safe way. And I think we've done a pretty good job of that. I mean, I think adversity is a good character builder, you know, but I think the entire world right now is getting a pretty good lesson in character building with that. So hopefully we can take that and make it a positive and definitely be a stronger team and stronger people, you know, when we're hopefully get through this at some point.
Chris Thompson.
A question for Sydney. You're from Phoenix. Your mom played basketball at Grand Canyon. When you faced off against the Lopes, who's she cheering for?
She's definitely cheering for CBU. She's a Lope at heart, but she's got to support the daughter. So definitely CBU, but it's a hard choice.
She cheers pretty loud though, too, doesn't she?
Yeah, you can definitely hear her from the court. So she's the biggest supporter for sure.
Kyle McDonald.
Sydney, I wanted to ask you last summer when they made the decision that the Lancers are eligible to play in the WAC tournament, how excited were you and your teammates knowing that you're going to get the chance to play for a WAC tournament championship?
We were so pumped. It was really sad the last few years because we were like, oh, we can't make it to the big tournament. It was kind of a bummer, but this year we definitely have motivation this time because we know that we can make it that far and have potential win the WAC. So we were just so excited and we're just ready to work to get there.
Back to Chris Thompson.
Coach, you've led CBU in this transition from D2 to Division I. The WAC has two schools making that transition now in Dixie State and Charlton. What do you think they add to the WAC?
Well, I think I don't know as much about Tarleton as I do Dixie because we were in the same league as Dixie for a while. But I do know that both teams have really good coaches. And as I've done some research on them, I think they're both positioned to be successful. I think they'll definitely, add to the success of our league. I think our league, in terms of women's basketball anyway, is about to hit an upswing. I think we've got really quality coaches in the league right now, and we've got teams that are kind of headed in the right direction. I think it's pretty exciting for the conference, and I think we're definitely, like I said, on an upswing and looking forward to see where we can go.
Back to Kyle McDonald.
Jarrod, yesterday Utah Valley head coach Dan Nielsen mentioned the parity, and that's why the preseason rankings don't really matter. Do you feel similar in that regard? I mean, you were just talking about the conference being an upswing. What are your thoughts on that?
Like I said, I think, the WAC is in a good spot right now for women's basketball. We've been not one of the better leagues, honestly, in the nation. And I definitely think we can make strides in that area. I think you look at, adding the two new teams like you just mentioned. You've got Dan at Utah Valley, who's a great coach. And Molly coming in at Grand Canyon. She's got the best winning percentage of anybody in the country right now. So those things kind of add to your profile. Tiffany at Chicago State, I think, is going to do really good things there as well. And then you look at the league, it's a lot of new faces. I think I'm the second or third longest tenured coach in the conference. We've been here for 2 years, me and Lane. I think Brooke maybe 2 or 3, and then Susie's the dean at like maybe 4 or 5. So, I think there's a lot of new faces, but I think people capable of doing good things and leading their teams in the right direction.
Chris Thompson.
Sydney, you've been in the program for 3 years now. How much more comfortable are you with your teammates and Coach Olson's system after a few years? Is it something that just by now it's second nature?
Yeah, I would say my first year was getting comfortable. Last year was kind of adjusting, and this year I'm definitely more comfortable. They have very welcoming staff and teammates than I came in when I was a freshman. So it's a very home-like feeling environment, so it was easy to adjust.
Coach, you bring back 2018, 2019 WAC standout Brittany Thomas. What can fans expect from her comeback season?
I think a lot just depends on her health. She's at practice and, she's able to go full speed. She's a great player. She's a great rebounder, really good defender. She can finish around the basket. I think the biggest thing for her is just trying to, stay healthy and, try to peak her at the right time, but, we're really, really excited to have her back, and we're very thankful that she is, able to practice with us from time to time. And so we're just looking forward to her having as good a year as she can. We're not trying to put too big of expectations on that. And I think that's pretty consistent, with how we usually do things in terms of trying to be more of a team than just focused on one individual. But certainly having her will make us a better team.
Great. California Baptist head coach Jarrod Olson and redshirt sophomore guard Sydney Palma. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.